Hello from Sydney, Australia, Frontrunners Paris. I'm Chris Richley, the President of International Frontrunners now for 2 years and the first President from the Southern Hemisphere, and it's a pleasure to be invited to speak at your annual General Meeting. I know you have a lot to discuss, but I wanted to give you some background on the history and global nature of Frontrunners, why it started and why it's still relevant to us all in the LGBTQ+ running community today. Frontrunners started almost 50 years ago in 1974. Initially a running club established in San Francisco by a gay and lesbian magazine at the beginning of the running craze in the United States, it rebranded as Frontrunners in January 1979. Clubs that were derived from the San Francisco club started popping up all over the United States, starting with New York in 1979. There are now over 100 active Frontrunners clubs around the world. Many people wonder whether a dedicated LGBTQ+ club is still necessary today. In many countries there's no crime and little stigma attached to being LGBTQ+. Why not just join a regular running club, or say we are just Frontrunners and ignore the last 50 years and welcome any and all runners? After all, our struggle's over, right? Unfortunately, this is not the case in most parts of the world, and even places where it is. By concentrating on a membership of LGBTQ+ runners, we are able to bring people with a common interest together, because it's not just running that interests us, but our fellowship and friendships with other LGBTQ+ people and our shared community and struggles in our daily lives. If we didn't have this social reason to get together, our interest would soon be diluted and people would drift away. There are plenty of non-LGBTQ+ running clubs. In my own city of Sydney, there are at least 3 other clubs of equal size that train in the same area of Centennial Park as Sydney Frontrunners. Our members, if they were only interested in running, could move to any of these clubs at any time, and yet our membership has stayed very stable at around 100 to 150 people every year for 30 years. We see how productive our little social clubs are worldwide. Sydney's hosted the 2000 Gay Games, using many of the same venues that were used for the Sydney 2000 Olympics, and brought in thousands of people and was assessed as bringing €30 million into the Sydney economy adjusted for inflation. The recent Paris Gay Games in 2018 brought over 10,000 participants and all their associated friends, family and associates into the city. The economic impact to the Paris economy of this event was assessed to be €100 million. The economic benefit alone to Hong Kong is expected to be around €110 million for their 2023 Gay Games, the 40th anniversary of the first Gay Games. And now, running has always been one of the largest events in any LGBTQ+ sporting event, such as a Gay Games or an Out Games. The Hong Kong Gay Games will be the first major LGBTQ+ event in a conservative country like China and the rest of Asia. Asia contains 60% of the world population, so anything we can do to get more members in this region will be important for LGBTQ+ runners in the future. But in the present day, our Frontrunners Fellowship has been a real lifesaver during the last 18 months of the pandemic, where all regular sporting events and training activities have been suspended. In some places it was not possible to exercise at all, so going out for a regular 5 or 12 kilometre run on the weekend with friends couldn't happen. During this time I saw and was invited to many Frontrunners quiz days and drinks events over Zoom, social distance running circles and virtual runs. Our own AGM was held on Zoom and Facebook Live for the first time, and instead of the usual 20 to 30 participants of an in-person meeting, we had 95 people participating and active in the meeting. Because there are Frontrunners clubs in many of the cities I visit, I know I can always turn up at a regular run and be welcomed by a community of like-minded people who love running and will fill me in on what's going on in their city. Last weekend I entered 2 virtual 5k pride races, one in Dublin and one in Seattle. The last time I was in Dublin was over 10 years ago, and I contacted the Dublin Frontrunners through the IFR website and ran with their club one Saturday morning. I also have friends in Seattle, and so even a virtual run with them is important to me. Last weekend, a major annual road race in Sydney, the Sydney Morning Herald Half Marathon, which regularly has over 25,000 participants, had to be postponed for the 2nd year in a row due to COVID cases. Now, Sydney has enjoyed months with no cases, and now we have over 100 in just a few days, and we're back to working from home and exercising virtually again. Many people were still able to run the race, however, and post their time in the Sydney Frontrunners and IFR Strava pages, as well as other social networks. And I think it's this ability for us to reach out and renew and keep firm our bonds of friendship and fellowship with our fellow runners that is something that's good to have come out of COVID, and I hope we will keep this up when the crisis has passed. For us, it looks like we may be able to have our AGM with some people attending in person and some people online this year when the Eurogames are on in Copenhagen from Wednesday to Friday, August 18 to 20. And so with that, I wish you a good AGM, a good rest of 2021, and let's hope every day from now on gets a little safer and we can join each other in person for our runs together all over the world soon. Thank you.